All right, guys. So, the video that we just watched was, of course, on the top 21 questions and answers for interviews for 2020. Okay, so now we're going to start reviewing some of those specific questions and the answers that we could probably formulate with those. Okay, formulate meaning make. Okay, so question one. This is one of the first questions you are likely to be asked. Be prepared to talk about yourself and why you're an ideal candidate for the position. The interviewer wants to know why you're an excellent fit for the job. Okay? So try to answer questions about yourself without giving too much or too little personal information. You can start by sharing some of your personal interests and experiences that don't relate directly to work, such as a favorite hobby or a brief account of where you grew up, your education, and what motivates you. Tell me about yourself is one of those big ones. You can even share some fun facts and showcase your personality to make the interview a little more interesting. Okay? So, interview question one, tell me about yourself. So, an example answer for this: as an ER nurse, I find that the best way for me to distress when I'm not working is to relax outdoors, rain or shine. I've always been an avid hiker, nature photographer, and trout fisher, and one of my favorite things to do is volunteer with the U.S. Forest Service and with local salmon habitat restoration groups. Okay? I also lead hikes on some of my Mount Baker's more challenging trails. This is where the skills I developed during my initial training as a military nurse sometimes come in handy. My current personal goal is to climb Mount Rainier next summer. Being outdoors never fails to renew my spirit so that I'm able to be the best ER nurse I can be. So this nurse, she put in stuff that she does in her personal life as well as what she's done in her professional life, right? She has talked to the interviewer about herself and expressed some of her most favorite parts about herself, right? So this is one of the first questions that you're likely to be asked. And guys, usually it's one of the hardest. It's really hard to talk about yourself. But remember, there's a lot of amazing things about each and every one of you. So start thinking about picking those specific things out about yourselves so that the next time you have to have an interview, you're prepared to answer those specific questions. Question two, why do you want this job? Okay? Why are you a good fit for the position? What would you accomplish if you were hired? This interview question gives you an opportunity to show the interviewer what you know about the job and the company. So take time beforehand to thoroughly research the company, its products, services, culture, and mission. Be specific about what makes you a good fit for this role, and mention aspects of the company and position that appeal to you most. Okay? So, an example answer, So, an example answer to this question would be: construction design is in my blood. Both my dad and my granddad were home builders who owned their own construction firm. From the time I entered college, I knew that I wanted my architecture career to be focused on sustainable green design practices. So I earned my certification as a LEED accredited professional. Greenways Construction is the most respected sustainable design firm in Texas. I've been following reports of your LEED certified projects in Journal of Green Engineering, and I wrote my capstone project on the energy modeling you pioneered for the Acme Business Park and the ABC Tech Campus. Working here really would be my dream job, since your mission aligns perfectly with my goals as a sustainability specialist. So, pretty much what this gentleman did was he researched the company, researched the goal and the mission of the company, what it is that they stood for, realize that that is exactly what he stands for. They're all about clean energy. That's what he wants. That's what he's looking to invest his time and energy into. So he's really excited about this job position, and he's really excited to get in there and work with those guys, and he really wanted to let them know. So he did when he answered this question of, why do you want this job? Okay. Question 3. 1 second, guys. Sorry. I want you guys to take a look at question 3. Why should we hire you? That's a big one. Kind of sounds like the question that we just previously had talked about, right? Why do you want this job? Why should we hire you, right? Why do you want to work here? They kind of all line up. But do they though? Where are the differences? How can we split it up? What specifically is the interviewer, the hiring manager, asking? Let's discuss this further. Okay. So, for question 3, are you the best candidate for the job? The hiring manager wants to know whether you have all the required qualifications. Be prepared to explain why you're the applicant who should be hired. Make your response a confident, concise, focused sales pitch that explains what you have to offer and why you should get the job. This is a good time to review the qualifications and the requirements in the job listing, so you can craft a response that aligns with what the interviewer is looking for. Example answer. You should hire me because my experience is almost perfectly aligned with the requirements you asked for in your job listing. I have 7 years progressive experience in the hospitality industry, advancing from my initial role as a front desk associate with Excalibur Resort and Spa to my current position there as a concierge. I'm well versed in providing world-class customer service to an upscale clientele, and I pride myself on my ability to quickly resolve problems so that our guests enjoy their time with us. Okay, so for this example answer, the individual talked about their skills in the position that they hold currently and what it is that they are responsible for doing in that position that helps the company run smoothly, right? So that's kind of where you want to go when the hiring manager asks you why we should hire you. Does everything that you already do match up to what we are looking for, right? Do you have all of the required qualifications? Question 4. What is your greatest strength? This is one of the questions that employers almost always ask to determine how well you are qualified for the position. When you are asked about your greatest strengths, it's important to discuss the attributes that qualify you for that specific job and that will set you apart from other candidates. When you're answering this question, remember to show rather than tell. For example, rather than stating that you are an excellent problem solver, instead tell a story that demonstrates this, ideally drawing on an anecdote from your personal experience. Okay? So let's do an example of this. An example answer for this question would be, as a cybersecurity specialist, my greatest strength is my intellectual curiosity. I enjoy researching the latest technology trends so that our critical information technology systems remain uncompromised. Not only do I do this by reading the latest issues of cybersecurity journals, but I also convince my employer to fund my participation in quarterly information technology conferences. This has allowed me to build a network of peer resources, many of whom are leaders in the field, that I can call upon for strategies when new threats arise to our systems. Okay, so this person talked about their strength of just loving, just being curious. He is just intellectually curious. He has to know about all the newest technology trends, all the newest technology out there, because that's something that is of interest to him. And because it's so interesting to him, he reaches out to his bosses, he reaches out to his company to ask for more time and more experience being able to learn about the technologies and the technology trends out there to help his company grow. Okay? Question 5. What is your greatest weakness? Another typical question that interviewers will ask is about your weaknesses. Do your best to frame your answers around positive aspects of your skills and abilities as an employee. Private. There we go. All right, so turning seeming weaknesses into strengths. Sorry, guys. This question is an opportunity to show the hiring manager that you're well qualified for the job. In addition to learning whether you got the right credentials, the hiring manager wants to know whether you can take on challenges and learn new tasks. You can also share examples of skills you have improved on, providing specific instances of how you have recognized a weakness and taken steps to correct it. Okay? So, my greatest weakness, as an example answer, used to be procrastination. Friends who knew my work style would tease me saying panic precipitates performance. In college, I was the person who pulled all-nighters to finish their essay right before deadline. This isn't as irresponsible as it sounds. From the moment I'm assigned a project, I'm thinking about it. Most of my first and second drafts get composed mentally, so it's only a matter of writing down the final draft. And since I have excellent command of grammar, I don't have to spend much time proofreading or revising. However, after I landed my first job as a content writer, it became clear that while this process worked for me, I've never missed a deadline. It made my editor extremely nervous, so I've learned to set early deadlines for myself. Okay? At least 24 hours before the actual deadline, so that my projects now always arrive with plenty of time to spare. So not right up at the line, but close it up, but 24 hours, right? So this person discussed that their personal weakness was that which was procrastination, but they turned their weakness into a strength, which was amazing of them to do, right? They mentioned that they had a weakness. Right? But from their weakness, they turned that into the strength by practicing better practices because of it. We can all do the same. Okay? Question 6. Interview question for question 6 is, why do you want to leave or have left your job? And this is usually a pretty difficult question to answer sometimes too, because some people will fall back on conflict, and we don't want to focus on conflict. We want to focus on the positive, okay? So be prepared with a response to this question. You'll need to give an answer that's honest and reflects your specific circumstances, but keeps it positive. Even if you quit under challenging circumstances, now isn't the best time to share what could be construed as too much information with the interviewer, okay? The interviewer wants to know why you left your job and why you want to work for their company. Simple. When asked about why you are moving on from your current position, stick with the facts, okay? Be direct and focus your answer on the future. especially if your departure wasn't under the best circumstances. You do not want to dwell on the negative. Focus on the positive. You're leaving because you know what? It probably wasn't the best fit. You had some good experiences there. You learned a lot, but you want to gain some new experiences, right? That's especially what you say if there was a bad experience at that job, okay? Example answer. I was very fortunate to be hired by ABC Company right out of college. They taught me a lot about digital marketing, and it's been stimulating to work as a contributor to their creative teams. However, I'm ready for the next step. I've always been a leader. I was captain of the crew team in college, student body vice president, and I've served as a team lead for most of our projects in FY 2020. I think I'm ready to move into management, but ABC Company already has very talented managers in place, and they won't be leaving such a great employer anytime soon. I've completed supplemental management training courses during my time there, and I know I can hit the ground running as your next digital marketing manager. Okay, so this person was specifically talking about not being able to move up in the company that they were in now, but they know that because they have a managerial position available at this other company, that this person knows they would be suited for it. Okay, talk about what you would like to do positively. Keep it moving forward. Talk about your future. Talk about your goals. Talk about why you want to be there. Talk about why you're moving forward. Question 7. All right. Interview question. What are your salary expectations? Salary expectations are what you would make, what you are asking to make yearly, okay? But usually we have you guys ask for minimum wage, right? So, what are you looking for in terms of salary? Questions about money are always tricky to answer. You don't want to sell yourself short or price yourself out of a job offer. In some locations, employers are legally prohibited from asking you about salary history, but they can ask how much you expect to get paid. Do your research before the meeting so that you'll be prepared to name a salary or salary range if you're asked. There are several free online salary calculators, that can provide you with a reasonable range based on your job title, employer, experience, skills, and location. So an example answer for this question would be reliable salary calculators, like the one used by Glassdoor.com, say that sous chefs here in Portland average $45,000 a year, 1% above the national average. I brought home around $42,000 last year. While I would definitely welcome a salary over $45K, particularly given the cost of living here, I'm open to negotiation if a lower salary was accompanied by greater flexibility in scheduling and additional vacation time. So usually when you're going into a bigger business or a pretty or a non-entry level job, let me correct myself. Then you can make different requests like this in regards to positions, okay? But when it comes to entry level, we usually want you guys to let them know that you are wanting to start at minimum wage or start at whatever it is that they are hiring for, right? Most of the time it is minimum wage. Every once in a while you see $17 or maybe 16, right? It really just does depend, right? So don't worry. Sorry guys, just getting a call. I'm getting interrupted again. Okay, sorry about that. And every time I get a call, it cuts my PowerPoint off on my phone. So, sorry. Like I was saying, usually we would suggest that you guys request minimum wage, as usually that's what entry level positions are going for. If you guys do seem to happen to see that a position is going for $17 that you're applying for, feel free to also mention that in requesting what it is you would like to make per hour in the application, right? And noticing the applications, you can pick what you would like to make per year, per month, per week, per hour, right? So not everybody always goes through salary, but you do have the option. And if you guys want to know any more about salary or learn more about salary, there and again, please ask us, your employment specialist, about it, okay? All right, another interview question. How do you handle stress and pressure? This is a big one too. This is our question 8. What do you do when things don't go smoothly at work? How do you deal with difficult situations? The employer wants to know how you handle workplace stress. Do you work well in high stress situations? Do you thrive on pressure? Or would you prefer a more low-key job? What do you do when something goes wrong? The best way to respond to this question is to share an example of how you have successfully handled stress in a previous position. Avoid claiming that you never or rarely experience stress. Rather, formulate your answer in a way that acknowledges workplace stress and explains how you've overcome it or even used it to your advantage. Example answer. I'm not someone who is energized by or thrives in stressful environments. My first step in managing stress is to try to circumvent it by keeping my work processes very organized and my attitude professional. When customers or associates come to me with issues, I try to look at things from their perspective and initiate a collaborative problem-solving approach to keep the situation from escalating. I find that maintaining an efficient, congenial office with open lines of communication automatically reduces a lot of workplace stress. Of course, sometimes unanticipated stressors will arise. When this happens, I just take a deep breath, remembering that the person I'm dealing with is frustrated with the situation, not with me. I then actively listen to their concerns and make a plan to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. So this individual used an example of how they help somebody deal with their stressful situation. Even if this situation didn't specifically surround around them, how did you guys help a coworker calm down from a stressful situation? How did you help somebody relax if they were crying in the bathroom because they heard somebody telling them rumors, right? There's a lot of different ways that we can look at stressful situations in the workplace. Again, strategize with us, your job coaches. Let's talk to you about some of those experiences. Try to pull them out of you so that when you're asked this question, you aren't stressed about trying to remember a time where you had to handle stress and pressure. Question 9. Describe a difficult work situation or project and how you handled it. This is a big one. Also nowadays, because people want to see how you guys are going to handle and manage your own issues at work. There isn't a right or wrong answer to a question about handling a difficult situation, okay? How you react will show the hiring manager your work style and how you manage issues. It will help determine if you mesh with the company and if you're a fit for the role. The interviewer wants to know how you respond when faced with a difficult decision. As with the question about stress, be prepared to share an example of what you did in a tough situation. It's important to share details to make the story believable and engaging. Example answer. I think the most difficult situation I face as a production manager is when I have to lay off staff, either because they aren't doing their job properly or even worse, because sales are down. When I can, I try to work with underperforming personnel to see if we can't improve their efficiency. If not, then I hand them their pink slip and give them straightforward reasons for why they are being laid off. No one wants to be fired without an explanation. When I have to let someone go, I keep my tone polite and avoid using too many you statements. I absolutely do not want to cast shame on them. So this person has a pretty heavy-duty job, right? They had a pretty heavy-duty job of hiring and firing people, right? Doing what this interviewer is doing right now. And that could be very difficult. but they used a very good example in how they handled the situation professionally and courteously and didn't try to offend or hurt anybody's feelings, but did what they had to do as a requirement of their job. Question 10. What are your goals for the future? Are you a job hopper, or do you plan on staying with the company at least for a while? Do your plans for the future match the career path for someone typically hired for this position? This question is designed to find out if you're going to stick around or move on as soon as you find a better opportunity. Keep your answer focused on the job and the company, and reiterate to the interviewer that the position aligns with your long-term goals. Example answer. I'm someone who likes stability. My goal is to find a job that I can hold long-term with a local company, becoming a valued employee as I gradually advance to positions of increasing authority and responsibility. I'm extremely interested in the teller job here at First Financial Credit Union because of your internal training program. My long-term goal is to eventually become a branch manager after I've proven my competencies in customer service and team leadership. So it's always nice to let the interviewer know what your goals are for working with their company. You may not see too much of what you may be doing in 5 years, guys, other than you just wanting to be working for that same company, wanting to gain new skills, maybe wanting to change a different position within that company. I know that's some goals for some of you guys, and it's okay if it's a goal for everybody. They're simple, straight to the point, and you're letting somebody know that you do have a future plan and that you do plan on staying with them and that you don't plan on running off and being with a different company anytime soon. Okay? So today we talked about different interview questions and example answers for those questions, but this conversation doesn't stop here. We're also going to be talking about this on Thursday. But if you guys have any questions about the questions that were asked or the answers, the example answers that were given about them, please talk to us, your staff, about them. Let's have a discussion about it. Let's improve your interview skills. That's what we're trying to help you guys do over this month and throughout this coming year, just in general, right? All the time. Okay? So, again, thank you for joining us for today's workshop, everybody. We are always happy to have you all participating with us every week. Also, please join us for the workshop discussion on Thursday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. For all our clients that are either job searching or are working and needing to maintain employment, please check our page daily for any updates on job fairs, job postings, employment tips and tricks, and for any other announcements that may come up. We also have a YouTube page and you can access it if you need to watch the workshop videos from there instead. I also want to remind you all to like our videos after you have watched them. For those of you who have made previous arrangements with your staff about letting us know when you have watched the workshops, please continue to do what is planned for you specifically. Thanks, and have an amazing day, everybody.